I've got a moral compass. I don't.
Does America?
I think they do, but I don't think that they're finding a voice the way some of the activists are.
Why?
Because they're not organized. And here's the thing. The activists, the tyranny of the fringe that I talk about in the book, they have an identified enemy. It's often us.
Yeah.
They have an identified enemy, and so once they identify an enemy, then they can rally towards that enemy. They when they have an identified enemy, they'll have a place to go, a time to arrive, a target to focus on. Whereas this middle America doesn't have an identified enemy. They don't want an enemy. America does. Most of Americans don't want an enemy. They want to live peacefully and accept one another and love one another, which I'm so glad about in one sense, but you have to pick your battles, and they're not picking a battle. And so here we've got this tyranny of the fringe out here that are snipers, and they're targeting people, and they're pushing this narrative. And middle America, millions and millions and millions and tens of millions of people don't have an identified enemy. They don't want to hurt anyone. They don't want to hurt.
But isn't it also that they don't know? I mean, you talk about core principles. The one thing about America, we didn't agree on anything, except a few core principles. We enshrined them as the Bill of Rights. And all of our laws were based on Judeo-Christian principles. Don't kill, don't steal, don't lie. Those kinds of things were important. We don't agree on the Bill of Rights anymore. We don't even agree that it's a good document.
Yeah.
How do you bring that back, and can it be brought back together?
It has to be, because, I talk about the fact that we have to make we have to choose all behaviors based on results, and that means that we have to support a meritocracy. Look, this stuff about equality of outcome, come on. I mean, if you've got a guy sitting home in a beanbag eating Cheetos, and he's going to get the same outcome as the person
I'm going to sit in the beanbag and eat Cheetos all day too.
Yeah, he gets the same outcome as the person that gets up at 6 o'clock and goes and totes that bale and works at the lumber yard all day, or goes to medical school, or whatever it is. I saw this happen when they said about mismanaging COVID and spent $5.5 trillion. And again, I'm not being political, I'm being psychological here. When you pay people not to work, and in fact, you pay them more to not work than to work. And when you figure in that gas was $5, $6, $7 a gallon in LA, I drove past some stations where it was $7.25. I took pictures because I went home to Robin, said, look at this. And they're having to commute, and so it's going to cost them $300-400 a week to commute.
Why do it?
Or they can sit home in that beanbag and they get unemployment plus a $600 a week bonus, and then another bonus on top of that. And then they get a stimulus check for, $1,250 per person. I had some friends with a family of 4 that, honest to God, they were getting $10,000. They go to, and
you destroy it.
And when you take all of it together, it was like $5.5 trillion. $4.4 trillion of it went into checking or savings accounts. They didn't spend it on rent and groceries. They didn't need it, obviously, because it went into savings. So you're paying people to not work, and then they say, I don't understand what happened to the supply chain. Why we can't get anybody to unload all of these ships out in Long Beach Harbor? They're backed up out here for miles, and we can't get anybody to unload them. Well, why would they? They're in the beanbag.